So last week we're in Atlanta, SEC Media Days. There was a time you used to be involved in SEC Media Days back when they used to be fun. Texas is kind of that SEC team that, you know, the Big Ten for Penn State. Everybody's got Texas winning this thing. When you really look at the SEC and dissect this, how many teams do you think ultimately get to a college football playoff, and who is the best of the bunch right now in the SEC?
I think that right now the Texas roster profile as a whole is the best top to bottom. I probably would to some degree agree with the media in terms of where Georgia and Alabama lie. I would probably have Florida just slightly higher. I think Florida is going to be really, really good. I think they're going to take the next step. We know what South Carolina and LSU have at quarterback. Questions, revolve around LSU getting back to those vaunted defenses that we've seen from the past that have been lacking the last couple of years. And so, I legitimately see, all of these teams being legitimate potential candidates. If Austin Simmons materializes at quarterback for Ole Miss, I think they're talented enough top to bottom to put themselves in the mix. You've got Texas A&M sitting there. I think Tennessee would be viewed a little bit differently had they not had the offseason that they've had. But I legitimately think that the margin of error for the teams that are considered to be legitimate college football playoff teams is razor thin with these programs because of the transactional nature of college football, because we've seen such turnover. You're kind of having to reinvigorate your culture in your locker room. And it's no longer just about making the right decisions on players. You got to make the right decisions on the people that you're bringing in. And, I go back to what Nick Saban said on his very first game day show from Ireland last year. You can pay every guy you want. You can pay them all the money you want. But if you pay the wrong ones, you're SOL. And there's no more of a true statement made in this era of college football than that one.
Okay, and one of the reasons I like this team that you didn't mention, the schedule is brutal, but Oklahoma, they go out, get Mateer. Ben Arbuckle comes in, his former head coach, now offensive coordinator. And to me, they've got the best running back, at least on paper, in Jaden Ott, if he's healthy, in the conference. The offensive line was trash last year. They've got to be the injuries. They were decimated. They're probably going to be underdogs in 5 games. So the schedule is really difficult. But where are you on Oklahoma and Mateer? And do you think he is going to be an elite quarterback in the SEC?
Well, I do. I'm very bullish on John Mateer and obviously the makeup with him and the relationship with the offensive coordinator. I think you hit the nail right on the head with Jaden Ott. I've had a chance to see him a couple of times in person, and boy, is he talented, but you can't make the club sitting in the tub. And so you got to make sure that he maintains his health, because Oklahoma has not, you talk about missing the mark in the run game and the offensive line and at running back over the last 3 or 4 recruiting periods, portal included. And that's really, really hurt this football team. Now, they've got to remain healthy at wideout. Remember what happened to them a year ago in that first 6-7 weeks of the season, and that had a dramatic impact on Jackson Arnold at the time. Defensively, I think they're recruiting towards being more of an SEC type of defense in terms of the caliber of player, but they're a little bit more on my wait-and-see list because of the schedule, because of the offensive line, and the health of the running back. I love the quarterback.
ESPN's Tom Luginbill is with us on the Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys Hotline. I was reading an article, Pro Football Focus, the college side, was writing it today, and it went on and on and on about the depth of Alabama's defense.
Yeah.
Just the depth of Alabama's roster. When you look at that, just the overall Alabama defensive roster, do you look at that and be like, man, this is Saban era good? They got guys on top of guys on top of guys.
Yeah, I think they do look like that, particularly in the secondary. And a lot of that is because of what they did in the secondary last year with so many young kids, including multiple true freshmen. So now you've got upperclassmen mixed with young kids that played a lot of football right when they got on campus. And so you've got a wealth of options there. Yes, listen, I think Alabama's got a chance to be really, really good. Is the quarterback going to have to be a difference maker? I don't know, but I know that when Kalen DeBoer's offenses have been really good, they have been quarterback driven. They have been led by the quarterback's ability to be a dynamic player in the passing game. Now, last year, that was a completely different framework in Tuscaloosa. Transition year, a quarterback that was so different than what they had been playing with, they being Washington, Indiana, Fresno State under Kalen DeBoer, that it was just I thought it was a little bit of round peg, square hole at times, and it took away from the explosives in the passing game that what we had seen from Washington the previous 2 years, Fresno before that, it just didn't seem the same. But it's going to be interesting because if they get back to that, they're going to score points, and with that defense, they're going to get extra possessions because I think they're going to get the ball back an awful lot.
Now, I was reading over the weekend too. You mentioned the secondary, and we focused so much on Damani Jackson. He was really, really good for Alabama last year. I didn't get a ton of Cam Calhoun at Utah. I don't know how much you got to see of him, but the transfer Cam Calhoun from Utah, I think if you it's going to be complicated because of the transfer portal. If you look at how guys graded out as returning starters, I think he's third best in the SEC. Now, he played in the Big 12. He didn't play in the SEC, but they're taking that into account.
Well, they're taking that into account because production is production.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think that's the what you're balancing, what you're weighing there in the transfer portal is what you think a guy is going to be as a really good player, but has not played a lick yet. Well, heck, you can go get that at the high school level.
Yeah.
What everybody's seeking right now are guys that have produced at a high level with a significant number of snaps, preferably for more than 1 year. And, that's a pretty small player pool when you consider how large the transfer portal pool is. And everybody's jockeying for him, especially at positions like corner, offensive line, defensive line, certainly at the quarterback position. Have you played or not? Because when you're looking to do this in the portal and you're going to cast your line, are you improving your roster better than what you currently have? And it's hard to say you can do that definitively if you're bringing in a guy that you think is really talented, but he hasn't played yet.
So great quarterback in this league can be the difference in 8 wins and 10 wins in getting to a college football playoff. These 3 quarterbacks, by the way, letters, they all start with an S. Simpson, Simmons, Stockton. Which one of those guys can be a difference maker, and who's got the best situation between Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss at an unproven quarterback position?
I really like Austin Simmons, guys. Listen, he's young. Graduated high school at 16 years old. He's already earned his undergraduate degree at Ole Miss, was not forced to play right away, got a bit of a taste of it a year ago. I kind of feel like his upbringing has been similar to what we saw from Garrett Nussmeier. When you saw him and he played really good. Now, Garrett played a little bit more at LSU prior to becoming the starter than Austin has. I think we saw a good little sample size of Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, good enough to know that it wasn't too big for him. The bright lights came on and he was ready to go. That tells me he's prepared. It tells me that he works at it, that he was ready for the moment, wasn't overwhelmed, managed his emotions. I think that's exciting, and they're going to have good personnel around him. So, those two would probably top the list right there. Simpson has an opportunity for me, guys, to kind of prove that he could be the next version of Carson Beck, be the next version of Garrett Nussmeier, the guy that had multiple opportunities to leave and didn't. High-profile recruit, could have gone and made a bunch of money somewhere on the transfer portal market, loves the University of Alabama, has battled, has been through it, has lost multiple quarterback battles, and he's probably the most ready to make that jump. And if he does, then maybe 6-8 weeks into the season, we're having those same conversations that we had about Carson Beck's first year as a starter, Garrett Nussmeier's first year as a starter. And sometimes when you choose to stick around, it ends up being the best thing for you long term.